There it is.
Yeah. And I do put all of these on our national website. So, I mean, on our Oregon website. So,
It says there's 16 people on there.
yeah, it does.
Oh.
Hi,
Oh,
Carolyn.
Hi there.
Oh, I see it. Hi, Sue.
I'm
Hi.
good.
Hi, Ellen.
I am here.
Hi, Sue.
Hi, Linda May. Where's Kathy?
She's got an appointment this morning, a dentist or
Yeah.
something.
Oh, okay.
Well, make sure tell her I was here. She's been giving me all kinds of grief lately.
You know, you better be here there today.
Well, that's true. Well, last month was a bad month. Had to do teeth work and not good on teeth work.
Oh,
Hate the dentist.
oh, yeah.
Dawn,
Yes.
I have sent you the minutes for our advisory council meeting. And please disregard the mistakes I made.
That goes without saying.
Okay. Kathy's supposed to read, but I had sent it off. I mailed it off before Kathy gave me the reply that I made some mistakes. So
Oh, well, not so.
spelling and, you know,
When did you send it? Because I don't.
sent it yesterday.
Oh, I guess I didn't get it yet.
So I sent one to you and Karen and Kay.
Good. We're all alive and kicking.
Mhm.
That was a good meeting we had the other day, whenever that was, on the luncheons and dinners.
Mhm.
That'll be good. We were working on our contribution to decorations for the conference in
That
October.
was real good. That was very good.
I think Lynn will really get on that. We got to make her an honorary member or something.
Yes, yes. She is so good. And it's so nice that she volunteered to take over and do it all for us.
Don't say that. We were going to go and oh, we worked so hard at that. Oh.
I love a volunteer.
Okay, so if I think we're just right at time. So I just want to welcome everybody here. And I'm Scott and everybody knows me, so I don't have to do that anymore. And our guest today, our guest teacher, lesson presenter, whatever you want to call her, is Ellen. And Ellen is out of Portland, Oregon. And you'll probably correct me. You'll probably tell me it's not Portland, it's one of the suburbs. Anyway, and I'd just like to welcome everybody. Excited that we're here. And I think we've got about 5 or 6 different states on. And I always write it down when I try to figure out where everybody's at. We've even got them from Tennessee. Charlene Budd is Tennessee, and I know Carrie's in Alaska. And we got Oregon and Kansas and Hawaii and Virginia. So we got a bunch. Did I miss any states? Okay. So I'm going to turn the time over to Ellen, and I'm going to go ahead and spotlight Ellen. In a smaller meeting, we don't have to worry about the muting, but please be careful about people talking behind you. Just mute it. If in doubt, mute it. When we had the national meeting the other day in the first session, it got pretty bad a couple of times. Husbands come in and start talking to you, and they don't know that you're on. There they go. So I'm going to turn it over to Ellen. It's all yours.
Hi there. This lesson is set up more for discussion than just teaching, although there's a lot of information there. Also, it's split up into different groups, age groups. So if you choose not to do one and just focus on another, that's fine. There is not a leader guide, because again, it's set up for discussion, and yeah, everybody having the information may help answer a lot of questions. So with that being said, I'd like to open the lesson by just getting your information from you to see where you stand. So in like 10 words or less, does anyone know or have an idea of what the true body shaming tagline is about?
I don't think I do properly. I mean, I have just a guess, but I've never heard it actually
Okay,
put into words, if you know what I mean.
well, I had to look it up. So a lot of this information is straight from the internet, but there's a lot of questions I had that I thought maybe someone else could help answer that would fill in my information about it as well. I'll just start with the information from the body shaming handout that I made. If there's questions or anything, please jump in. This is probably one of the greatest challenges we have right now, especially in our group, age group. We view it differently than what's being viewed now by the younger generation, especially now, like in 2022, because everybody is locked down in their houses. The school kids, like high schoolers and college, don't have the people to rub against. And so when they leave the house, they're self-conscious and they don't have the buffer that normally is established when they're young. So say the wrong thing and you might have hurt somebody. Not intentionally, of course, but they would take it home and stew on it, if you know what I mean. So with that being said, again, the body shaming, the noun of it is the action or practice of mocking or stigmatizing someone by making critical comments about the shape, size, or appearance of their body. And that can lead to, it can be a lot of comments that we would never think of. Way back when, in the 16th and 18th century, through the 18th century, women wore whalebone corsets to fit the ideal of the perfect woman. The perfect woman was the one that got married and invited to parties and pleased their husband. So if they didn't wear the corset and the whalebones, they were body shamed. Shut up. They were body shamed by not getting married because they just weren't the right person. It was not as obvious, I guess, but still, body shaming is body shaming, and I wouldn't wear a whalebone corset to save my life. So there you go. The individual steps of body shaming is viewing the individual's body as an outside observer, feeling shamed when the body does not conform to acceptable society standards, and appearance control beliefs, the amount of control one believes she has over her body. So an individual who feels they are body shamed steps out of their body to look at it very critically. And when they feel the shame, it really doesn't go away. She feels as though she has to conform or worthless. And the appearance belief is the amount of control one has is dependent upon how she shapes her body. And normally it is a she, but not necessarily he's going to the effect, go into that affected. just about the same way. There is confusion is a powerful tool when an individual is shamed. Half-truths and conflicting information can overwhelm the vulnerable individual. An example of an individual's confusion brought by shaming, example number 1, is fat a negative word? Is skinny a negative word? When people look up terms that are used to describe bodies in the dictionary, there is never a comment about being better than others. They are simply defined as what they are. Fat is designed as extra flat flesh, and skinny is defined by very thin. There's always too fat and too skinny in our heads. Post a picture of a body on one of the public social media platforms like Instagram and be amazed at the diverse way people defined one of the two. A young, inexperienced person can read Instagram and see their body compared to the beautiful one, but too fat or too skinny. Again, while comparing their bodies, shame and inability to control themselves can result in unresolved depression. It's very early for me, sorry. So a question that comes up in my mind is, have you or a loved one experienced body shaming? What's the effect of the personal experience you have? So have your daughter or granddaughters or neighbors, friends ever come through a depression about their body? Usually it's quite easy to tell.
Well, one of my granddaughters was at 10 pounds when she was born, and she would wear the same size as her sister that was 3 years older, except everything needed to be shortened because she wasn't as tall. And she was always very heavy and weighed like 132 pounds at a very young age. And there was absolutely nothing she could do. I think she probably did go through a lot of this because of her size that she could not control.
Mm-hmm. Very common. She's trying to emulate her sister's thinness, probably because it's her sister, and she felt that she had to be that same size.
Well, we never discussed weight because it bothered her so much.
Oh, yeah. Well, some of these body shamings are produced by actions. You never know. You feel as though you've never given that idea out, but then the actions of the family sometimes, I'm not saying yours, but sometimes can add to the frustration of the child, adult, teenager. Usually this hits in teenagers. Since COVID hit, my two granddaughters, who are 2 years apart, one is a senior in high school and the other is a junior in college. The two have hit their room together. They now bunk together in the same room, and they stay in the room on the internet. Both of them have their own laptop, and they stay in the room on the internet. They don't leave. And even though the schools are open, neither one of them will go to school. They stay at home. Their comments are, we don't want to leave the house. And my son's comment is, they both gained 20 pounds. So it's really hard on them, especially they just don't have the confidence to get out there. Neither one of them have a boyfriend, honestly. Neither one of them has a boyfriend. And they're really, I feel bad for them. But hey, they don't come to family functions because they're too heavy. And which is funny in our family because everyone's too heavy, but whatever. I'm sorry that it's in their head. Is that okay? Should I go on now? Yes, okay. Oh yes, okay. There is such a thing on the internet that is considered to be self-declared body judge. These are the people who feel they're perfect. They're the ideal of what a woman should be. And they are the ones that determine whether you are correct in your assessment of yourself or not. These are usually the ladies on the internet that show up in their bikinis 99% of the time, who wake up looking beautiful, and so they take a selfie of it. And I'm sure that in daily life, if you don't watch Instagram or YouTube, you've seen kind of jokes about them or flash stories about them in the news. That is a very hard thing to follow if you're 10. At 10, you still have a child's body. You're not into adulthood yet. It's going to take you 5 years to get into adulthood until you actually have those curves that are being flouted in front of you. The self-declared body judge has appointed themselves the answer to all that is correct and acceptable. No need to worry about how an individual may be confused while seeing diverse ways to define skinny, fat, or skinny. The self-declared judge, or SDBJ, will advise the individual how to look, act, and think with personal authority and genetics, and can determine whose genetics are acceptable. They know this because they say so. The self-declared body judge posts their opinion on the internet because they can. The internet is open 24/7 and open to anyone. The internet does not screen or censor words targeted at one person or groups of individuals. The idea of free speech is always cited, but is free speech to demean and shame a right? Self-declared body judges use body shaming to spread negative ideas of beauty, strength, or genes of their choice and to boost their own body. It's a power gig. If they're at home and feeling a bit low or feeling a bit insecure themselves, out pops the body shaming and out pops the I'm better than you are, and look at me, I'm the be all and end all. Usually when ladies get to be our age, or maybe a little younger, I'd like to think that I'm a little younger, we've got so rubbed off, and the impact of someone's comments to us is usually whatever you think, babe, or go for it. You know, I have to go home and pack lunches for the kids. And so we don't have that much of a rub off of the shaming. We don't take it so seriously. Is that clear for everybody? Everybody's
Ellen?
Uh-huh.
Dr. Phil had this on a couple days ago, and he had 4 young women on, and they admitted, well, they're on the YouTube or something like that, you know, one of those. And they admitted that they go on, and that isn't really what they look like, because it's airbrushed and all this stuff too.
Right.
And one of them admitted, we are making money off of body shaming, because that's what they're doing. They're just showing, this is what you're supposed to look like, and look at me. So
Yeah.
the
There's
internet's the worst
a
thing.
lot of makeup tutorials that show you what you should look like.
Mm,
And YouTube people do make good money.
mhm.
They get sponsors, especially the makeup ones. They get sponsors from makeup companies and this and that, and clothing brands. And the more sponsors they have, the more money they make off of YouTube. Some of the YouTubers have quit standard jobs and live on YouTube only. So cool for them. Bad they pick a nasty, well, okay. I'm progressing here. Anyway, so yeah, it is difficult. And the internet is here to stay. It's not going to go away. Instagram may change its name, Facebook may change its name, but it's here. The kids use it. It's their part of their life. And somehow they have to, it would be best if the younger kids recognize that they don't have to look like that. They have the wherewithal and the strength to stand up and say, not for the next 5 years. So
You're talking about just the weight, because when I was young, I was so skinny that I was called a beanpole. And
Ah.
I never realized that was, well, it was derogatory too, because I didn't have no shape.
yes, it is derogatory also. Padded bras, and now they pad their rear. So yeah, I know, Susan, not a chance, but anyway.
I was
Yeah,
straight up and down.
I can't
And
think of anywhere I'd rather have removed. Okay, God. Anyway, I should go on if that's okay. How the internet awards the self-declared body judge. Smartphones can access the internet everywhere, giving the users access to self-declared body judges' ideas any place and any time. Channels such as YouTube, Twitter, TikTok measure success by hits or daily number of watchers and the number of subscribers. The more subscribers they have, the more people watch them. Kids on the bus going to an affair or walk in the mall or whatever with their buddies can look at one of the body shaming things and think, oh no, I can't go anywhere in this. I don't look the same. I don't like it. So they won't go. Just simply go back home. That did happen a couple of times with my granddaughters, which I think helped put them in their rooms. It's because if they heard that one of their gorgeous, and they described her as gorgeous, friends didn't show up because she didn't look right, what chance do they have of looking right? So, bummers. I mean, really, my granddaughters are adorable. And they do have the strength. I've seen them stand up to their dad on just about everything except for themselves. So my next target is the danger of body shaming. Like I haven't talked about it earlier, but anyway, online body shaming is a form of bullying. Online bullying, which goes viral, can have a deep psychological effect on someone who is insecure or unable to manage rejection and criticism from others. Many stars of social media have come forward about their development of eating disorders, mental health disorders, and substance use disorders to cope with the pressure of being body shamed or avoid body shaming. Mental health distress caused by body shaming is unfair and unjust. Now, the body shaming of the young, I was very upset to learn this. And so a lot of this, I just copied off the internet. They say it better than I would. So if you'll excuse me, I'll just read this for you. We are our own worst critics is often a phrase that is used to describe when an individual is too hard on themselves. For most people, it is a natural tendency to always be better, faster, and stronger. But how strong must a 9-year-old be? This craze to become better can result in severe mental health consequences, especially when it becomes time that our body appearance changes. If it's not accomplished in manageable steps, well, that sentence is crazy, sorry. The percentage of the young in our society is frightening. 91% of 9 to 10-year-olds are frightened when they'll be shamed due to not being able to fix their bodies. It's not that they're shamed now, it's that they're afraid they're going to be shamed. 81% of 10-year-olds fear being fat. 51% of 10-year-olds feel better when dieting. 51%, rather. 91% of 9-year-olds are frightened they will be shamed. Shocking, isn't it? So that just tells you how soon it starts. And how soon it starts is ridiculous. They have no control over their body at this point. It's going to do what it's going to do. I'm sure you guys remember when you're that age. It's a difficult time. Like, what are they doing in those jeans? I couldn't fit into those jeans if I wanted to. The butt is all not filled out. My thighs are huge and my stomach looks like a round balloon. Well, that's the shape of a 10-year-old. So yeah. As far as the fact of they get this information from the internet, and if their parents refuse to let them watch the internet, they get it from their friends on the internet. When they go to school together, there they are on the internet. I mean, they see this on the internet from their friends' phones. At home, if they're going to go to school on home, they have the computer in front of them to do Zoom meetings and homework and things like that. Well, they can also slip off of there and go to the internet and see YouTube or TikTok and see the beautiful women who are like 25 years old work out every single day of the week and eat 2 pieces of fish and a piece of lettuce for dinner. It's just not feasible.
Ellen, do you remember back when, before we had all the internet and everything, it was magazines that we relied upon? And they
Yes.
were always looking at the pictures of the girls in the magazines, which were airbrushed and everything else too.
I had a girlfriend in my freshman year. I always remember her because I thought she had a body from heaven. And she had get off of there. She had a very nice figure, and she was telling me one day that she had to go to the gym and work out. And I go like, why? And she goes, because I want to sleep on a ski slope on my stomach to my hips so that when I lay down, everybody can see this ski slope. I thought she was crazier than heck, but hey, so that's a girl who was what, 13 maybe, and she's talking about a ski slope in her waist to her hips. Geez, I still had the jeans from my brother. I was perfectly happy in them. The effect on, I'll go on, unless anyone else has a question. No? Okay. Today, growing up in the United States is in front of a mirror can ingrain the conventional notions of beauty. Beauty, not possible of the 10-year-old, but that of a teen or a young adult, is thought to be attained at any cost. The unattainable can result in deep-seated self, sorry, self-esteem issues in the young. Today, individuals seem to be more accepting of being different from others, but secretly, the 9 to 10-year-olds cannot classify themselves with this understanding. The pressure from social media targeted at older individuals can be read by the young as a guide to want to look up to in certain ways. These goals and even body shaming of the, I got this one, of the older individuals lead negative body images with the young. If that beautiful 17-year-old is shaming because of her insert body part here, how can I be normal if I look like this, a 10-year-old girl? Age 9 and 10 is one of the most emotional times in a woman's life. Working through body changes with growth, spurts, and reproduction emotions is a tricky time, especially when the youth have no idea or acceptance of what is told or read is true. Thoughts of why the heck is this woman stuff needed now can be the youth's mantra. I remember, sort of like Scott, you don't have to listen to this. I remember maturing at a very early age, and it was like, I despise being a girl because what are these things in my way? If you think I could run around the field with these things, they were quite large. And I always told my mom I was, okay, this is gross, but I always told my mom I was going to chop them up as soon as possible. So I lost a whole lot of weight, went to the plastic surgeon and got rid of them. It was terrific. I still think it was the best money I ever spent. Okay, sorry about that. I kind of thought it was funny, but I wonder who else would do that. Oh well. Anyway, so on with this. Some 9 to 10-year-olds can be as young as still playing with Barbie dolls and baseball with the neighborhood team. Some can be as old as makeup and the latest clothing, trips to the mall, and boys. How can a 9-year-old or 10-year-old know how to protect their already fragile world from outside comments? How can they judge what is normal and expected behavior if others point out flaws and differences? I think that really says everything. The kids have no idea how to take care of themselves or rebuff the bad lingo that comes their way. And mom and dad are probably working, and the schools are interrupted big time now. So the only thing they have are other school chums, which they don't see that much, and the all and be all of the world standards in the mind of the youth, the self-appointed body judge. Have any of you went on the internet to see TikTok or YouTube or Twitter? Has any of you experienced any of that? One particular, I'm gonna flow in here. One particular TikTok that I remember is, I thought, a very nice looking girl. She was probably, I'm gonna guess 12, but I'm sure she was 14 or 15. I always guess everybody younger than they are anyway. And she comes on with no makeup, sort of like Ellen. No makeup on, just here we are. And she spent 20 minutes putting on makeup. And by the time she was done, she looked like she was 25. She got dressed in her dress. And she said, well, you know, I need a little extra room here and a little extra looking here. So she patted herself up. And as she walked away, you could see her. I swear she was 25 at the end of that. I always remember that one because, geez, what did my grandkids think of it? And my great grandson is old enough to start looking at that also. What does he think? So if you have time and the ability, not negative ability, but have been used to your computer long enough, you might want to go on and just see what they're talking about. Not cool. It is quite thorough. We used to always call them socias in school. They were the girls who had the 18 boyfriends and on the cheering squad and peppy little things. Even at 9 o'clock in the morning, they were peppy. Like any other form of bullying, body shaming will always be present unless you stick up for yourselves in a positive or healthy way. Understanding the body and emotional ties can sometimes help the youth. A mentor would be beneficial to talk and explain the origin and intent of body shaming. A parent or sister would not be a candidate for this task, as, quote, quote, they always think I'm perfect and beautiful. She would tell me to put the phone down and stop reading questionable sites. They would not understand, and they are old. So maybe next time there's a school meeting or next time there's a proposition in schools and your kids are there, maybe it would be a good idea to expand or work hard for an extra person to look at these girls who walk with their face down, slump along, and never stand up straight. My oldest granddaughter walks with a hump in her back because she's tall. She's 5'9", and she's tall and she walks like this the whole time. Well, she's been body shamed enough for being tall, and she's kind of got hefty thighs, runs in the family. And she looked very strong because she is very strong. She's got a muscular body for a girl. She's wonderful. If you need anything done, you ask her because she will do it. I had leaves in the gutter and my husband didn't want to go up. I asked her to do it. She came over just like that and took the leaves out of my gutter. And she was not afraid at all. She drove me crazy because she'd come this close to the edge and then laugh at me. But she's wonderful and she still walks with a slump. Anyway, so I told her to stand up straight and she goes, oh, Grandma. That's when I figured out nobody related to you can tell you anything.
It's true, especially moms and dads.
Yeah, and grandmas. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Have I been relegated to the side? I used to be queen. Yeah. It's important for all understanding that everyone is unique in their own way. It is, be it their physical appearance or as a person. Body positivity is accepting the body that you have, and the changes will come as time passes. Best thing in the world you can say to them. So that kind of ends the part of the packet that I have on young people. That's the one that I was looking at the most because I thought it was just horrible. In here, the one thing that I did end on, which I thought was worse than anything, is this paragraph. Without the guidance, the information may lead to self-injury or cutting, binging and purging behaviors, or even anorexia. Individuals with history of trauma, depression, self-harm, low esteem, or borderline personality disorder are more likely to be affected by body shaming. A shocking 30 million people will suffer from an eating disorder sometime in their life. About 1,000 women will die each year from eating disorders due to malnutrition, heart attack, or suicide. How gross is that? And it starts at age 10. I'm sad. So, any questions about what is there?
I have to stop and think about with my daughter because she used to be real skinny, but she's gained a lot of weight. But we have to be very careful that we don't say anything because she really is trying now. So if she brings the subject up, you know, I'm walking, I'll say, yeah, I can see you lost some pounds. You're looking good, you know, something like that. But I don't bring it up unless she brings it up.
Well, believe it or not, telling somebody that they look good because they're losing weight just reaffirms the thought
But they're,
in the person that they're not worth anything unless they do lose weight.
well, she's exercising and I love hearing that.
Yes,
She's walking every day.
yes.
That is great health wise.
Maybe you could say that.
Mhm.
For health of your body, that is marvelous. Telling somebody that they're wearing that blue color, you're in an office, somebody comes up and asks you where this person is. Across the room is the only African American in the entire office. Now, how do you point this out to the person? Do you say that beautiful Black lady over there is who you want to see? No, that is not really what you should say these days. You have to watch and forget about what you learned growing up, because it is 180 degrees difference. What you could say is that beautiful lady in the blue dress by the copy machine is who you'll need to go see. Or better yet, here, come along, I'll show you. That would probably be the best way. If you go into a grocery store, they don't just point, they take you there. You think that that's just common courtesy, but actually it is a shopping hack that gets you to come back to that store all the time because they're friendly. That has not much to do with body shaming, but that's how it works. But anyway, the mature age group also has body shaming issues. And I have gone ahead and included that in the packet. My opening paragraph on that is, as TV and the internet portray the elderly as active, playing tennis, hiking, and surfing, not all mature people can play tennis, and some cannot even walk across the room. Is it possible that all mature individuals have the capability of playing tennis? Advertising by corporation tell us we can, and we just need to make a phone call or email. Not doing so proves we do not care, and we can shame by our families if we do. I couldn't play tennis to save my life, but I'm okay. I'm a good person. I get things done. My family loves me. My cat, as you could see, loves me a lot. So I can live with this. Well, my knees hurt all the time, but I could probably get around on this. But if I listen to the television stuff, God, what a lazy slug. not even trying to play tennis. Of course, my knees will pop off. I'll be on the floor. They'll have to call an ambulance. But besides that, there is ways that in this article, there is ways to talk about how to stop body shaming and how to watch out for it. Now, my question that I did put in is the ultimate embarrassment of all humanity, the Karens of this world. Do you know about how the phrase Karens came up? Do you know what it's about?
Karen Carpenter.
No, actually, they are self-indulged white women who think that the world owes them the most perfect world ever, and they can do anything they want because what they want is owed to them. Over the decade, as it's become easier to film confrontations on our smartphones, incidents captured on camera and uploaded to social medias with a far greater ease, a woman calling the police when a Black 8-year-old child was selling water without a permit is an example of a quote, quote, Karen. Although the exact origins are uncertain, the meme, meme is also one of those words. A meme is a universal picture of the good thing. It's not, but that's what it is. The exact origins are uncertain. The meme became popular several years ago as a way for people of color, particularly Black Americans, to satirize the classic base and racially charged hostilities they often face. Karens, quote, quote, are always white. While they may claim to have Black friends, that person usually works for them. They exclusively spend time together with other Karens who encourage their injurious behavior. The unifying factor is that Karens are not comfortable with their own bodies and take that anger out on unsuspecting people. How to manage Karens in the world. I'm sorry if I embarrass anyone here, but I laughed my head off writing because I took this off the internet also. Keep calm and keep your head. Stay calm and listen to their issues. Be purposeful, acknowledge the Karen's feelings and offer solutions. They don't want a solution, but offer a genuine apology and focus on how the situation can be rectified. Stick to the facts, don't get emotional. If you can't come to a solution, calmly let the Karen know why. Keep records and protect yourself. Keep communication open and transparent and record what's taking place. Know your rights. It's good to know your legal rights and what customers are entitled to. A Karen is a person who will come in, park the car in front of you at an intersection, get out of the car, come over, say mean, nasty things to you, flip you off and hit your car and stomp back to her car because you might have been 3 inches too close to her car, or at least she thought so. If she comes up behind you in her car, she'll put her car in park, get out of the car, go up, yell nasty things at you, flip you off, and hit your car because you went 3 miles below the speed limit. If you park in a parking place and she felt that this was her parking place and you have no business in it, she would go up and block your car and just park there. These are all actions I have seen on the internet. One lady came up and parked a car behind another one's another car and went into like Costco or something. And when the first lady came out to get in her car and go home, the Karen car was behind her. She went in and told the people in the tire section, and they all came out and picked up her car and moved it so the first one could leave. When the Karen came out, she was hysterical because someone touched her car. But her actions show she was like 12 years old and should have had her car moved. So my question to everyone is, did the Karens evolve because we let them? Is this the kind of behavior that we let our kids have? Or did we make a mistake in saying, well, stand up for your rights, honey, you deserve that. Here, let me help you. And get through the line first because you deserve that. Or are they just nasty, unhappy adults? You know, this is food for thoughts. This is one of the ideas that I had about kicking it out to the study group to discuss. Again, you guys are probably bored out of your skull because I'm reading this more. Asking questions along the way would be good, and find out about their experiences. The only time I was body shamed is on the playground when I was in school, in grade school. And unfortunately, I slugged the guy, and that was the end of that. Never was one to put up for much of that crap. So a lot of this is new to me. I don't understand it. I don't want to. I read it to my sister. I read it to my daughter, and she goes, "Oh yeah, that happened to me all the time." It's like, you never said a word. And she goes, "It's my problem, not yours." See, you probably have the same type of kid. Anyway, so that was that. There's a couple other things attached to this. One is health awareness that has to do with body shaming. And the other is a quick overlook from one of the body dysmorphic disorders about how to recognize body shaming. You can't see this, but I tried. Is it backwards? It's backwards, isn't it? Well, at least to me, it's backwards. And so that's pretty much a nice summary of what I've written. There's lots of words here. Some I copied straight from the internet because I thought they were so powerful. Some I have written because that was one of the intents I had of bringing that out by writing it. So what do you guys think? Did that help at all? Was it interesting?
It's interesting, but nowadays you wouldn't dare slug a person at school because they would probably call the police and you would be in really big trouble.
Yes. Kids these days do not have a second chance at anything. If they commit some venial sin, they end up in jail or really in trouble with the schools, things like that. I always kind of felt sorry for that. I committed big time goof off things and never got caught once. It was great.
Well,
So, well, you probably haven't noticed that, but hey, I have a lot of guidelines in my life, never a rule. So, does anyone else have a comment?
I'd like to have you let us know, if you can put it in writing or something, some more of the things that we could say instead of what we are saying that would be shaming. That, you know, some that wouldn't be shaming, like we
Right.
were using.
I was hopefully getting out an eye opener that just covered that amount, that the paper just got too long.
Mhm.
And so I was going to And I asked Scott about that earlier today, if it would be okay to publish an eye opener for beginning of your study group meeting. Maybe
Good.
there'd be 2 or 3 pages of them, so 2 or 3 meetings in a row, just to tighten up our understanding of the language and meaning now. A lot of it has changed. We're not the majority anymore. Those lovely children are, well, my kids are 50, so what can I tell you? And so yes, if you would like that, I'd be happy to do that.
Thank you.
And
Would-
Ellen,
and- Yes,
I did send out the information that you sent me. I sent that to everybody that's on here today. And so they'll have that, you know, the packet you sent me.
excellent.
Scott.
And
Yes.
please remember, there's not a leader guide to this. This information should go out to everyone if they choose to do it. And if you don't choose to read the whole thing, pick out, if you, and still would like to have it in your study group, just pick out what age group you're looking at and go from there. So that's it, guys.
Thank you, Ellen. Very,
Thank you.
and we will see you doing this at our Woodmere meeting.
Okay.
Yes, I'll be there.
Good. Okay.
So I took the spotlight off. If you want to put it back in the gallery so you can see everybody.
Okay,
And up in
dokie.
the upper right-hand side, it'll stay in the speaker view. You
Yep,
can see that.
got it.
And I think all of us have seen that. When you talked about that, and this is something Ellen, I talked about, you know, when I went to the state FCE conference in Hawaii, and I got to see Lavonda, on the way over there, there was a lady that we were 3 seats across, and there was a lady in the window seat that was, I call him a real woman, you know, very, very nice lady, but she was a little bigger than most women. And the guy that was between us refused to sit in there, and he had some very, very cruel words that he said to her. And matter of fact, I know that the airline took care of that when they landed in Hawaii, because he stood up the whole time. And that was a perfect example of adult body shaming. And anyway, so we see that also, you know, children get that lit a lot, but anyway, so I'll
Well,
turn it back to Alan for a second.
My question of that is always, who said that was correct? I mean, when did we ever give out or get rid of our compassion with the next guy? Who ever said that was okay to do? Personally, you should have shut up and done something about it, but mostly shut up. But that's my own opinion.
Well, I do know that the attendants detained him. They wouldn't let him get off the plane. They had a couple of people standing outside that were going to talk to him a little bit, but
Air
anyway.
marshals.
All right. So thank you very much, Ellen. I appreciate it. I hope if anybody's got any other questions, they just sneak in here. I did ask Bonnie. Bonnie's going to be teaching next month's lesson. Ellen, did you have anything else, or anybody else have a question for Ellen?
No, that's fine. Feedback would be great.
I would like to comment that maybe it would help our children if you had a photo of generations back of what they look like as adults. I'm very mature taking pictures. I always took pictures at the family reunions. And in the family, in my grandmother's family, we had 2 very short people, my Aunt Dora and my Aunt Nona. My Aunt Dora was heavy set, but she wasn't originally when she was very young. She was as small as my Aunt Dora. I mean, my Aunt Nona. And then we had 2 very tall people, which was my Aunt Juanita and my Uncle Bud. My Aunt Juanita wasn't as tall as Uncle Bud, but they were real thin and really tall. And then I had my dad and my Uncle Vance, and they were like 240 pounds and 6'2". And if you happen to show your children a picture of past generations and talk about it with them, let
Yeah.
them know, hey, a lot of what we become is what our heritage is.
Genetics run deep.
All right. Well, thank you again, Alan. And Bonnie's going to be doing the lesson next month. And maybe I'll give her a second to talk about what she's going to do.
The title of the lesson will be called Junk in Your Trunk. And we're going to be talking about changing our habits. Not necessarily changing them, but how to create good habits and just kind of edge out the bad habits. So I'll be sending out some a little bit of information ahead of time, a few days ahead of time, so that you'll have time to look at it and be ready for it.
How interesting.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you, Ellen.
And
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for allowing me to do this. It's always fun.
Thank you to Scott for setting it up as usual. Thank you.
Yeah. And I like
Thank
to
you, Scott, thank you for inviting me. I
Sure,
appreciate
we're
it.
glad to have you. And Paula, you are in Virginia, is that correct?
Yep.
All right. And by the way,
Where in Virginia?
Little town called Belton, Virginia. It's, if you do a triangle between Warrenton, Virginia, Culpeper, Virginia, and Fredericksburg, Virginia, I'm in the middle.
Oh, okay. We have a daughter that lives in Hampton.
Okay, that's about 2 hours from here.
Okay.
we'll be there the end of the month. And I'd like to acknowledge Artist Snyder, our national FCE president, is on here. She just snuck in and she's waving. So thank you very much. This will all be recorded and I'll put it on our website too.
Hey, thanks, Scott. Bye-bye.
Okay,
Bye,
bye-bye.
everybody.
Thank you,
everybody.
Ellen.
Thank
you.
Bye.
Thank you, Ellen.
Talk all you want. I'll leave it on.